Does anybody have any comments or quick sharings, maybe 1 or 2 minutes on this heart stream, or anything that comes to mind from the heart stream? Lisa would like to share.
In the beginning of the heart stream, the Master said the wealth and health of millions was at stake.
The wealth of nations, and then the health. Yeah.
And vitality.
Right. Vitality. Yeah.
For some time, I've had the impression that these diseases, these variants, are being projected from the dark force. Can we, at the etheric level, stop this? I mean, I think that's what the Master's implying.
Well, from the astral plane, they have created these so-called diseases, and they are projections. Yet, when people believe that they are real, then they become real. And their fear, actually, the opposite of the word hallows. The fear unhallows the space around them so that they succumb to little things that, because their auras are compromised and their health is compromised. So these variants, the Delta variant, the mood variant, has there been an Epsilon or, all these other ones? The Lambda, yeah. They probably exist at some level, but they're between the physical and the astral plane, Omori is showing me. They're actually astral entities and mass entities. These so-called, all these variants, all these things are astral mass entities that have been given power by the collective fear of humanity. And if you have no fear, if you take measures for perfect health through, eating right and having zinc and vitamin C and vitamin D and all the things we know of, and you live righteously and you are exercising, getting enough sleep and having pure water and all these things, it should not be a problem. You also have to have faith, though. Remember the Omega's dictation, she talked about the fact that to receive that dispensation, people had to believe in God, basically. They had to be believers in God and have some sort of affiliation with the Divine One, whatever religion, it doesn't really matter. So if you've compromised your relationship with the divine, then your health will be compromised at some level, at some point. So being right with God is the greatest thing we can do to safeguard ourselves from all these projections, because they are astral, quasi-astral physical projections that then actually become diseases because people believe in them, and then their worst fears come upon them. And so the masked people and the people that have gotten the vax are the ones that are going to have the greatest problems, typically. I'm making a generalization. There may be seeming exceptions to that. Even good people can come down with the so-called virus. And it's not for any of us to judge another who may have gotten it and say, oh, they weren't careful or they weren't closer to God. We're not judging anyone. Even the people that, we think may be unenlightened, we can't judge. Yet, our compassion and our love counteracts the astral mass entities that are behind this, which are part of the plan for planetary de-enlightenment and making us transhumans. And Christopher Rudy has provided many wonderful emails for those who are subscribed to his podcasts and his sharings that offer links to videos that are absolutely essential to watch. I just watched one yesterday from Dr. Carrie Madej. It's fantastic. About their attempt to make us transhumans, human 2.0, I think they call it, right? Which is basically we're just part robot, in effect. We're part like synthetic. So we have to counter this by being so in alignment with God's light and the cosmic DNA of our divine selfhood that transmutes and counteracts what they're trying to do to our DNA through the mRNA, so-called vaccination, which is a shot, to make us transhumans, or not even really human, basically making us robotic. So the divine director warned about this in 1965 in his mechanization concept. Others have warned about it, and now it's happening on Earth. It's unbelievable in one respect. And the recent dictation from the 7 archangels and Archei talked about this, that it was very important that we also align with the angelic worlds to counter all of these strategies of darkness. So does that answer your question, Ken?
I'll think about it. Yeah.
What didn't get answered?
No,
How we can...
I mean, it seems, I just honestly, this handful of light bearers stopping this, pretty big operation. I believe that I can certainly protect myself, my family, my community, and maybe together, it just...
Yeah, we're not going to save everybody because people have succumbed to the lie.
Right.
When you succumb to the lie, then you live in that reality. So we all live in the reality that we create, partly by our consciousness, by our acceptance of it. So if you watch, the mainstream media all the time, you believe them, and that's your reality. You live in that reality. If you've gone beyond the mainstream media and live in a different reality, and your reality, the foundation of it is God and light and higher consciousness and awareness, you're quickened into a higher vibration, which keeps you above a lot of the nefarious stuff. And that's why the masters keep reminding us to not dwell in duality, because the duality is the lower consciousness. And if we're above that, then we can stay in vibration higher than it and we won't succumb. Because we are what we eat, what we take in. And so we all know that. That's why they've been encouraging us not to focus too much on the darkness, because it does compromise our vibration. And so be outside as much as possible. Garden, grow your own food, eat your own food live. Yesterday I ate like 5 cherry tomatoes from our greenhouse, and I tell you, it was like an enlightening experience to have the fresh, living energy of that plant, which I picked and put in my mouth. And immediately, Anthony Williams says tomatoes have a certain type of vitamin C that you can't get anywhere else. That's Anthony Williams. I felt that. I felt what he says in his books, in his podcast. So I think this was an epic heartstream. I didn't tell you that, Boyd, but I think epic is the highest rating, right? To me, this was epic. Everybody agree?
Yep.
It was so intimate, so beautiful.
Intimate.
Especially at the end, but the whole thing was like, if you didn't feel him, and this, I don't know if you have any hope for feeling what El Morya is like, but it was great. Okay, anybody else? Marlena.
Just a quick note in following through with Lisa's wonderful question and the answer to it. El Morya sings with us, and if you can stay in that part of that world, it moves mountains, and that to me was a saving grace. Always that song in my heart that I was in my challenges down in the pits of metropolitan Phoenix, Arizona, which Lisa knows about. When you sing, and now hearing El Morya say, "I sing with you," was just, you can feel it. It's wonderful. Thank you.
And then the vibrations of those songs rise, and the angels take them to the throne of God, and God whispers his response. That was one of the most precious parts of the heartstream to me.
Intimate.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we could talk forever, but I think, go ahead, Boyd.
I have a little bit of extra tagging on to what Lisa's question and answer was, and that is, I think all of us recognize this phenomenon where a lot of people have not only the fear, like you're saying, but but ideas, which are, I keep going back, they're irrational, because if you look at facts, facts don't support it. and yet there are so many people who agree, and they kind of like march together with it. And you said one time, David, you said it's almost like a virus, and I've been just really pondering this. How does this work, so that we can, I don't know, just pray about it a little bit more precisely. And I came to the conclusion it was like mass entities. That's what you just said, mass entities that, and maybe there's one for each one of these silly, irrational ideas that, are really, once again, they are the ideas that circulate around people that aren't tethered to God. They never got that tethering at a soul level, kind of, maybe on a long-term soul level, or at least in this lifetime. And I've been contemplating how do we in our calls maybe diffuse these mass entities, as well as maybe the beings inside that I think kind of incubate them, create a silly idea that is, it's something that people that have problems, psychological problems, would be enamored with and then get obsessed with, and then suddenly there's just millions of people talking about it and stuff. Diffusing that, dive bombing that, and dissolving those mass entities is something that's been on my mind.
The Matrix movies, basically, even though there's a lot of violence in them, they're about as close to, explaining what's happened with our planet and our world, because people swallow the blue pill and they believe the lie. So you're infected by the lie. And then it's really hard to get out of the matrix, and you have to have the resolve of, like Neo, and the miracle energy of the divine to get out of the matrix. It takes a miraculous effort and resolve. Al Moria kept talking about the will of God, right? Yeah. And the resolve necessary to be in alignment with it. It takes courage. It takes resolve. It takes coming out from among the crowd. And I did this the other day, and I'm still reeling from the effects of it. I was the only one unmasked at this opera, and the artistic director came right up to me in the front row and told me I had to move. So, really, and I finally moved only because I didn't want to delay the opera anymore. And I wrote a letter to the governor. I wrote a letter to the ACLU, which we'll see if they defend my civil rights.
Will they fight for the good guys?
Yeah. But in any case, do we have the resolve and the courage to fulfill the will of God? And it's not being sheep. It's being good sheep, but not the bad sheep, that just follow blindly. Yeah. So I think we're here on the path because we have determined in past lives and this one to follow the thread of the will of God.
We pray about to awaken people, though, too, and give them a chance. And so I'm interested in...
I think Al Moria gave us many, many keys in his heartstream. I think I have to hear it again. Yeah. Oh, here's another key. He kind of just flashed to me. There's those 2 books that came out that Dr. Shorashkin, the Anastasia books, the guy who edited them, that he recommended, and we sold both in our store.
Power of Luck.
The Power of Luck. And that book is amazing. These initiates do a little dance, and they create another reality. So what we have to do is create, through the mysticism of really the 5 crystal rays, is what it is, El Moria says. We go beyond, we morph beyond the human reality, and we create avenues for miracles to displace all the craziness, the darkness, the inanity. And the 5 crystal rays are what allow us to morph into these other realities where we can then flood the earth with light and have mass awakenings and enlightenment. So we are a 5 crystal ray movement. We're a Buddhic movement and a crystal ray movement. That's part of our commission from the very beginning. I mean, look, the first rosary was the Golden Buddha Rosary, and we called, the 5 Dhyani Buddhas. And the 5 crystal rays are right there, right? From the very beginning of our movement. So the 5 crystal rays is the means to counter all this insanity, because it's the black keys on the piano. It's the things between and above and beyond the norm. So read that book, The Power of Luck. Something like that. There were two of them, and it told stories of these initiates in Russia. They do this little dance, and then they twist the world on its side, and then miracles would happen. So there are Christians who have so much faith. There are instantaneous healings, and it happens all over the world. We don't always see that in our movement, yet I believe, and Maura kept talking about belief and faith too in this heart stream. When we're in a total alignment, anything is possible. So be intrepid. You know, he talked about vision in this. And I love the part when we come to these sessions with the divine director, don't just say, what's my divine plan? Come with options and plans, right? Mm-hmm. That he can confirm. We have to put that in the verbiage for these sessions next year. Okay, well, thanks, Boyd and Lisa. I understand your questions that how can we change the masses to awaken? And it will be by the flashing diamond will of God, the 5 crystal rays. And it can be, for many people, it's going to be dramatic, and it can be, some people will not believe the truth. In this lifetime, they will not accept the truth. And we just have to accept that that's their reality for now. Hopefully they'll awaken in another lifetime. We won't be able to awaken everybody in this life. Christopher.
I was going to say, some will, some won't.
Right.
So what? Next.
Got it. Yeah, it's like Gautama Buddha, where somebody said to him, some will respond.
Yeah.
Right? Mother gave us that teaching many times. Oh, Mara said, what are you doing? Why are you enlightened? You know, why are you going back? Some will respond. And then Mara disappeared.